Pipe Network presents.
Trust me, no matter what people say to you, your life does not change. It only changes when you want it to change, right? You're responsible for your own actions. You are responsible for your own decision. Today, somebody might be bullying me, and I will take it to my heart and I will try to change myself, or I might just be like very depressed about it. But that's really up to you how you want to go about it, right?
Mainit na diskusyunan,
Masarap na kwentuhan
malinamnam na usapan,
at nakakagising na balitaktakan.
parang kape lang. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Rhea Angeline
Join us in our conversations at Coffee na Lang Dear Podcast.
Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Rajiv Show's Reflection. So, we have an honorary guest. My nose keeps bleeding when I say that word. We have an honorary guest. Again, we have an honorary guest, a friend of mine who is also an artist by trade and who graduated in an art college. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to talk about art. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about everything else in between. So ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Vani Chandel. Hi, Vani. How are you doing?
Hey, hello, Rajiv. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I hope I pronounced the last name right, Chandel, because
You got it. It's actually Chandel, but I can forgive you for that because it's just very complicated. People have called me weird ways, so I'm actually okay with it.
okay.
So it's fine. It's actually quite cute what you did right there.
Thank you. That's a huge honor from me. Now I'm blushing. Now I don't know how to start the show. Yeah.
See, I gave you a good start. I already did.
I know. I was surprised by that. But before we get into the meat and bones of our conversation, which is going to be artistic and it's going to be creative, I want to take it back to. I want to take a time travel back in time into high school. Who were you if you and I were classmates in high school?
I was this really in high school. I was this really uh I was kind of a duff, basically, if you know what I mean. Like I was like this very manly looking, healthy, chubby, with a lot of mustache.
Really?
And I was like this, not so good at studies, and I used to be like one of those people in the room who grew up on who people make jokes on.
Oh,
I used to be mostly like, what's happening with my life, and I used to go back home and I used to be like, I don't want to go to school again, and then somehow pull myself together every morning and went to school anyways.
yeah.
But I had a couple of good friends who kept me going. So I was one of those girls in school who was really slouchy and geeky and I don't know what. So yeah. That was me.
Yeah. I wanted to ask what the how would you classify yourself? Introvert, extrovert? Are you an inverted? What kind of vert are you if you were to classify yourself in that category?
I am so I'm extremely extroverted at convenience.
Yeah.
Like
Back then.
I do. Yeah, back then as well, I was extremely extroverted at convenience. Even though no matter what kind of personality or characteristic I had back then, I was an extrovert no matter what. So I used to take everything that people had an opinion about me very casually and still go ahead and try to make new friends and try to talk to people. And I think that's how even today I am like that, but now my personality has changed a lot over time. But back then as well, I was very, very interested to know what was going on with people. and I wanted to talk to them, and I wanted to know how they're going about, you know, their day-to-day life. And that's how I was always. No matter
Yeah.
no matter how I used to look or how I used to talk or whatever, I always made sure that I made an effort to go to people and like just talk some random things. There were people who got irritated.
Yeah.
There were people who didn't get irritated. They did encourage me a lot,
Yeah.
but maybe out of pity, I don't know what it could be.
Yeah.
But you know, in a way that kind of helped me today, because now that I've changed myself in my personality, it really helped me a lot. It did grow over time and like, you know, enhanced and matured over time. But yeah, I've always been extremely extroverted, but at convenience. Like
Interesting.
if I don't want to put an effort, I will not put an effort. But
Yeah.
I will never be like one of those people in a group where who's just sitting in a corner and not talking.
Yeah.
I would always want to brew a conversation, right? So that's how I've always been.
Interesting. Interesting. You mentioned you were the one who was chubby, who was being bullied a lot. I can imagine that because I've had my fair share of being bullied and bullying also. But in my end
Mm-hmm.
of it was, of course, some of it was because of my fame. I had the ability to bully, but then when I was not famous, it was this thing. It was the same thing around. So yeah,
Mm.
that's how
But
creative I was. Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah, but you know, like my bullying, I never like see there is no bullying that is good, right?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
the slightest joke can trigger anybody,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't know what kind of mental state they're in or what kind of personality they possess. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like in my high school, I was pretty popular with the things like my
Yeah.
cultural activities and like my artistic behavior. Like I was really good at sketching and painting, and people knew that if they need any kind of help, even the school teachers or principals, if they thought that they need kind of any help in design or like art or like a dance or a singing thing, they would reach out to me,
Yeah.
irrespective of the way I was in my studies, or I was bullied in a way. Like my bullying was like very on a level of like, you're fat, or why do you look so manly, or why your voice is so manly, and
Yeah.
you have a mustache, or you but yeah, and you know, why are you not good at studies, you're always failing, and like, you know, are you even, what's your IQ level, are you so these were the kind of things like I used to face. But i
Yeah.
i never took it to my heart, because uh
Yeah.
trust me, no matter what people say to you, your life does not change. It only changes when you want it to change, right? You're responsible for your own actions. You are responsible for your own decision. Today somebody might be bullying me, and I will take it to my heart and I will try to change myself, or I might just be like very depressed about it. But that's really up to you how you want to go about it, right? And for that, you really need to sit down and think about what people said. And it does it really make a difference? Does it really change you? Does it really change what's in your heart? No. your
Yeah.
your your furniture is at your place, your mom dad is at your place, your food is coming, you're eating, you're wearing clothes, you're living under a shelter. Nothing is changing because of what people are saying. It's
Yeah.
just really what you decide to do with it, right?
Yeah.
You can take it very seriously and really mess up your head with it, and just, get yourself into trouble by taking impulsive actions, or you just let it be. Because trust me, those people are trying to just entertain themselves because of their own insecurities. uh, it's just as simple as that, I feel.
You you have very, very powerful points that you've pointed out. Just let it be. That's the most simplistic word, but sometimes some people, especially those who struggle, I understand now looking at it in a standpoint. Yeah, when I was being bullied myself, I knew it was a different take, but taking that upon me
Mm-hmm.
as a character now, looking back at it, it was kind of, yeah, in mind, never really had the intention to hurt. And yeah, I picked up
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good stuff that you you've said in this conversation, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
emphasize on the last thing that you said, which is just let it be. It's very powerful, very yet simple. Just let it be, and it's just simple, and but it's very powerful in the sense that it means so much for simple thinkers and complicated thinkers like me. It's a challenge
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and yeah, it's an
See,
interesting, yeah. Please go ahead.
yeah, just to jump in, like, see, I'm an overthinker, and I won't deny the fact I'm very self-aware, first of all. Like, I accept the fact that I overthink a lot. I make a lot of impulsive decisions. Like, for me, it's like, if some situation is happening for me, I need to take a decision and just work on it, and I need the result immediately. That's how I've been always, right? When I
Yeah,
say just let it be, I know it might be very difficult for a lot of people to understand that very sentence or word, that how can you just let it be?
yeah,
It's like it's, affecting me in a lot of ways. I'm like, feeling inadequate or incapable, or but what are you doing about it?
yeah,
You're feeling these feelings, and which is great. You have to feel your feelings, and because that builds up your personality later on.
yeah,
But what are you doing about it? You need to
yeah,
work on that, right? If
yeah,
someone is telling you that you are, uh, oh my god, you're failing and you're not even good at studies, do you even have brains or not? There are only two options. Either you can do nothing about it,
mm,
or you can actually go back home, sit and think that, am I working hard towards, studying or not, and am I understanding what I'm analyzing the situation, and why don't I actually start studying and try to understand how it feels to get good marks?
yeah,
Because people who fail sometimes are very comfortable and lazy, and I have no shame in saying that, because if even if you're not able to study, but did you try hard enough for it?
yeah,
Yeah, you tried hard enough on it and then it didn't work out, that's a different thing altogether. Then you really need to get, like, you need to talk to people, you need to have mentors, you need to, like, really reflect back upon what is going wrong. Is there something mentally, physically, that you're not able to do it? But did you try hard enough is the question. You
mm,
cannot judge the situation before, people said this, so I am this. You
yeah,
cannot do that. And also, you can't be like, I'm like this, I'm going to stay like this. I don't You need to really work upon, yourself, right? And
yeah,
then judge yourself on the basis, like, I don't think so that people, when people say something to you, uh, it's just words at
yeah,
the end of the day.
yeah,
There are people who are going to appreciate you a lot, there are people who are going to really demean you a lot, but they
yeah,
are just words. Because in the end, what really matters is what you're doing. I know it's very easy for me to say it right now because I've gone through it and I actually worked upon it. Even
yeah,
today, at this age and point of time, when people say certain things to me, i I do feel bad. I sometimes do feel upset, but
yeah,
I do not want to feel upset about it throughout my years and days and months and weeks.
yeah,
If I'm feeling upset about something, I'm going to extremely feel it and then just let it go. Because the only thing that really comes in my mind is, what is changing in my life after somebody said something to me? Nothing. My
yeah,
life is going to just go the way I want it to go, because I'm the leader of my own life. My life has my own terms. I have come into this universe for some purpose, for
yeah.
some reason, and
Well,
I need to create my own purpose and my own reason, and I need to work upon it and not rely on validation and what people are saying. Yes, validation is very important for self motivation at that very moment.
yeah,
But when somebody appreciates you, you're happy at that moment, but you will actually forget about that appreciation 1 year down the line.
yeah,
You won't even remember what somebody said to you 2 years back, right?
yeah,
So at the end of the day, it's just like somebody saying some silly things to you, and you're just like, okay, fine, and you're judging yourself on the basis of what other people are saying. And the
yeah,
best way to uh, ignore a ignore bullying is just go back home, take a good power nap, freshen up, sit and think about what moves around you because of somebody said something.
Yeah.
Nothing actually does move around. Everything stays at its own place where it belongs. So you
Yeah.
should know where you belong and you should know where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It's very
Yeah.
powerful. I love it. It's just a powerful take. I love how you went headstrong and saying, I, I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away. We've never had, for those who are listening, folks, me and Vani, we go way back. And we go way back in the sense that I used to study in the same college that she studied, which is art college. That's where we're building the story here. And she studied there. I think she studied. You studied under the college itself. I studied on a diploma, not diploma degree or something, a small short
Mm-hmm.
degree. I had an animation course. I joined an animation course. It so happened that our circles intertwined, and of course, Rati is also there. Shout out to Rati if she's
Yep.
listening to this episode
Yep.
and she reaches this part of the episode. So that's how we knew each other through art, and that's how we sing. And I want to convert this conversation. You went straight full hard on the philosophical stuff. I wanted to get the creativeness, and I wanted to squeeze the
Uh-huh.
creativeness. But before I go there,
Mm-hmm.
I want to praise you for what you've said, and it's very powerful. And I'm quoting you on this. I am the leader of my own life. You said it just just as strongly as anyone else could have said it better, and that's very powerful. And I do agree. We are a leader of our
Yep.
own lives, and that's how we do what we do. that's how we that's how we
Yeah.
exist. So I want to
That's
transition.
how it should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to transition into arts. Now, where did the
Mm-hmm.
story of the arts came? For me personally, I hope it's okay if I could share my story first. My relationship with
Yeah, go ahead,
arts.
please. Yeah.
My relationship with arts is it's been like it's like a dating relationship thing for me. It's been my girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
through and through, and
Mm-hmm.
through ups and downs, art has always been there. I still do my occasional abstract art, and I still love doing it. I mean, even though it's tiring creating lines and digital and learning new formats of how I can transcribe my thoughts, my art has been one of the longest relationships that I've ever had. I gotta ask, was it the same for you as well?
Not really. I I come from a background wherein all my family members were something or the other they were doing in a creative field, right? So it was inbuilt in me from the very beginning. So like my grandfather was a photographer, plus he used to do a lot of photo editing and things like that. My father is a designer. My all uncles are real artists. They are all painters. They're all architects and things like that. So everybody was into a creative field, and my entire family, like even my mom's side, they were too much involved into their cultural activities of like art forms like dance and singing and doing home science or whatnot. So from the very beginning my parents have made sure that I was a part of all these creative things, and it never happened in a way that I was sitting one day and I was like, oh, guess what? I want to do design or I want to do art.
Hmm.
It just happened so naturally to me, right?
Hmm.
Like for me, it was like, this is what it is. This is what I have to do. And I never had that kind of scenario where my parents were like, no, you have to become an engineer or you have to become a doctor or a lawyer. For
Yeah.
them, it was like, no matter what you do at that moment, you should do it well. Like if you're in school, you should do it well. If you're in college, you should do it well, whatever you're doing, that is. So for me, art came, it's in my blood basically,
Yeah.
right? So it
Yeah.
was there the from my birth till date. I'm very much related to art every step of my way. So I won't say that I'm I'm still doing a lot of design or artwork, but I'm always connected to it no matter what I do. So yeah, that's how the art thing came into the picture. And trust me, till my 11th 12th grade, I was not even doing anything about it. Like, people usually who really want to get into design and art, they start creating their portfolios, they're sketching all the time, and they're keeping their creative blood flowing and things like that. For me, it was never like that.
Oh,
For me, it was like, when I feel when I feel it, I'm gonna do it. So
interesting.
I'm a very feel it, do it person, right? So
Yeah.
uh, after I finished my 12th grade, that's when I decided that, okay, now it's time I start looking for colleges for my degree, and decide what I want to do, whether I
Yeah.
want to do printing or applied arts, or I want to do graphic design, or I just want to do a painting scenario or a sculpture scenario, things like that.
Yeah.
And I happened to find our very great, being sarcastic, pun intended, a great college that we studied in, Chitrakala Parishad, and I just entered, and I was like, okay, maybe this is my scene, and let me just see how it goes. And I was like, okay, let's do graphic design, and it was just very, very quick and very, like, it was just happening with the flow. For me, it was never pre-decided, or it was never
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I want to do this and do that. So whatever was coming my way, I was just taking it up, honestly speaking, because uh, uh, I generally do not like deciding what's coming. If it's coming to me naturally, then I'll just do it. So I started building my portfolio and sketches and all these requirements that you have only after my 12th grade.
Yeah.
So within the span of 1 or 2 3 months, I created a good amount of portfolio and design work, and I used to keep doing all this creative work at college also, right? Like, when I used to have events or fests in college, I used to do their brochures, and I used to do their backdrops, stage backdrops, and whatnot. So
Yeah.
it was always there in me somewhere, right, from the very beginning of time. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I got into this basically. Now also, I might not be at a stage wherein, like, if art is not there, what will I do? There's nothing like that. Over the
Yeah.
period of time, I've tried to expertise myself into a lot of other things that, if design's not there, I always have something to fall upon, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I usually work, and that's how it happened to me.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, the way you've built that story, and the how you built a story from the narrative of you being influenced by your environment itself, that establishes your character as an
Mm-hmm.
artist. It's really interesting to me
Mm-hmm.
because from my end, uh, I'm a dropout, high school dropout, and but my dad a musician and my mother is a musician, and of course I can consider them artists, but of a different trade. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, my relationship with art came with a different saying. It was all about me and knowing my art, even though everything has fallen. Everything around me has fallen. Me and my art still have that communication. And it's pretty interesting how
Mm-hmm.
yours came up with, because yours, the influence is already there, so everything has become so innate and it's so natural, and that makes it really
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very, very interesting. And I gotta
Yeah.
ask,
Also, the fact that,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'm so
yeah,
sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
Also,
You go
the
ahead.
fact that I might not be one of those artists who are like, oh, I express my feelings through art, or art is something that I cannot live without. Uh,
Yeah,
Actually, nobody can live without art,
yeah. True,
honestly speaking. Even the
true.
most bizarre career choices anybody makes, they cannot live without somebody or the other. No matter what they're doing in a field of work they're doing,
Yeah,
they are listening to music, they are watching dance, they are
yeah,
watching movies, they are watching acting, they are uh, watching these posters, or they are watching these designs or animations, or I don't know what not art field has, right? There's such a
yeah.
huge vast area to cover in art itself. So everybody on this planet, some or the other way, is connected with art.
Mm,
And it's never going to happen in a way that, for me, that one day art is gone out of my life. or my
Yeah.
artistic characteristic has gone out of my life. It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
If today I'm not sitting and painting or not designing, it does not mean that I do not like it anymore. It's just that I'm not feeling it
Yeah.
at that point of time. Maybe one day I'll just pick up a brush and start painting, and I might make a kick-ass masterpiece of myself. But it needs to come very naturally to people. But
Yeah.
art is always connected to you in some or the other way. Not just painting or not just sketching or not just digital work. It's just there always around you, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it has been for me always.
Yeah. I'm starting to love this conversation. I just hate it that Zoom is reminding me that we just have few more minutes before we wrap up. I hope
Mm-hmm.
you come back to my show and we will expound more on how to be creative and make a series out of that, because it
Oh,
is
for
you
sure.
and when
Yeah.
you and I butt heads about art, it's the big bang of creativity, because we have a lot to share about it. It's not something that you can simplify on a podcast,
Yeah,
because you've
for
opened up a
sure.
lot of pure good points, and I also want to come back and forth with that. But sadly, Zoom, 40 minutes and all that stuff, I have to abide by Zoom's thing. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna cut the conversation, and hopefully next season we'll have Vani back, and of course let's have a series. If it happens, let's have a series and let's talk about art and creativity, because the conversation never ends. When it's art and
Yeah,
creativity.
for sure.
The art never ends. The conversation never ends. So before we
Yeah.
wrap up, yeah, yeah, you first.
No, nothing. I was just saying that for me, when it comes to creativity, I'm mostly into the technical part of it, like design, and I cannot stop talking about it. I know I have a lot of points to say, but yeah, you're right. If we can definitely do a lot of other things, like a series or something, wherein I can give my inputs, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm looking forward to having that. Let's see in the coming season, once this series is done, let's get that started, and hopefully keep the series going strong, and keep Rajiv show going and moving, and mobilizing Rajiv show's creativity. And before I forget,
Awesome.
I gotta ask.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my listeners
Mm-hmm.
would want to connect with you, want to send their portfolio to you if they want to collaborate with you. How would they reach you?
Mm-hmm.
How would they connect with you?
They can always DM me on Instagram. I'm very much active on Instagram all the time with all my reels and all you must have seen. I'm just like on that all the time. I'm active.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to reach to me. And I will connect with them and I can help them out and, give them other source of communication or modes. And then they can just approach me anytime they want.
Awesome. Awesome. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for accepting my call and in this conversation. It's a huge honor having to connect with an artist, a fellow Indian artist, which is my huge honor. Is the one thing that I love to represent as an Indian artist, a Filipino musician, and it's a huge honor. Like I said, it's a huge honor to have you, and I hope again, and I hope and I wish and I pray that I'd have you back on my show. And I want to say thank you so much for answering my call.
Hey, for sure, Rajiv. I was really excited for this because there's something for the very first time I'm doing. And I hate that we have to end this conversation because I was really having fun. Because I'm
Yeah,
a very opinionated and I have a lot of points generally about a lot of things.
I know,
And
I
I love
know.
to speak a lot. So I know this is the right place where I belong. So
Yeah,
yeah, for sure, we're going to continue this in the next episodes and series that you're talking about. And thanks for having me. And I actually got flashbacks of you in college. You were this tiny little cutie roaming about and
yeah.
talking to me here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We want to uncover that, but that's another story for another day. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Like again, thank you so much. And for those who are listening, I want to say thank you so much for your support. The show has been going strong and still continues to go strong with that in mind, cheers, folks, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.